The True North, the racing podcast, is presented by Vision 20 Studios. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unmask? Unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
Welcome back to a new week of the True North Racing Podcast. I'm your host, John Morrison. Joining me as always is our amazing co-host, Megan Mitchell. Megan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How's your family day weekend been going?
Not bad. We're doing a lot of, I guess you can kind of call it spring cleaning. So,
So does that mean
today?
So does it mean the race cars are coming along very well then, or?
Not today, but they are coming along really well. So
That's good.
we have
Yeah, you guys still have a little bit of time. Since it's crazy that thinking that we're still back into our going back into a new season now of the True North Racing Podcast, and we're still going to be working out some jitters here to get ourselves back on footing. And I don't know about anyone who's listening hasn't noticed, but anyone who's been watching us has noticed, is for the past 2 seasons of the show, I have been standing for every episode. So when you think about our Stickers and Scuffs podcast episode that lasted, I think, close to 3 hours, I still had to edit that show that night. So for the first time in a while, I'm actually getting to sit. We're rearranging some stuff, and this is what you'll be seeing every week is actually me getting to sit for a change and do the show. So Megan already told me I need to stand up before we got in here, and said I need to stand back up again and do the show. This week on the show, though, guys, we are being joined by the vice president of the Canadian Vision Modifieds, Jae Pepin. He's going to join us in a little bit here to talk about the upcoming season, what we can expect from their from the 2024 season. They've been having a lot of growth. They got a new name, new title sponsor to the series. We're going to talk about some awesome dates that are on their calendar for this year. And if you guys obviously make sure you guys follow along with them, Facebook, Instagram, and check out their website, vintagemods.com, to keep in the know of what this club is about. These guys to me, they're still one of my favorite classes to watch. I'm sorry. They're I know last year I said, I'm going to be stepping away from the club, but in all reality, I'm not really stepping away because, one, I'm going to be there for a couple races at least, but I'm still going to do some stuff behind the scenes.
Exactly.
And I can't forget this club at all.
Mm-hmm.
The uniqueness, the camaraderie that's in the club, because you can't just load up. If you're pissed, you can't just load up and go to another track and just run. You're not doing that. If you want to go race your CVM and you're pissed, you got to go to Michigan. Like, it's the club is just amazing. It's just last year we had TJ Marshall bring a brand new car, and still wipe the field.
Yeah.
The gap of competitive cars is actually getting bigger, I find.
I did notice that too.
Like, there was a lot more running for that top four, like 5, maybe 6, I would say. And then like 7, 8, 9, 10 was 9 and 10 were kind of in their own. And then 7, 6, 7, 8 were usually near each other as well. But this year we even got a new rookie I know there's a new rookie in the club. One as of right now that I know of. Um, but yeah, this is just a club that's near and dear to my heart. I'm sorry, guys. Like it's just the history of it. It's the second longest running club in Canada. Do you know what the first one is, Megan?
Honestly, no, I don't.
I'll give you a hint. They have been on tour more often than not as a companion event with the APC late models. Oh, come on, Megan. They're smaller in stature. They're an open wheel car.
I'm not good with the titles of the divisions, to be totally honest.
The
I'm like,
Can
oh, those ones. Oh, okay. The
the
midget.
Can-Am midgets, yeah. Can-Am midgets are the longest running club in Canada.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, learn something new, eh?
Hmm.
And the CVMs are the second, and I think it's literally a year difference.
The CVMs would have been my guess, like just with the history that
The
I know
style
of
of the
them.
cars and
Yeah,
yeah, you would think that, but by 1 year.
close.
Yeah, it is pretty close. Um, this week is what's fun with this with the race season coming up is not only our drivers announcing sponsors and their plans, we're also getting announced some of our sponsors and partners as well that are going with the True North Racing podcast, as well as Joe Media. And as you've already, I guess you could say, I guess we could say that you fell victim to it already, is that you were part of our a look ahead series.
Yeah.
And last year was done by your sister, Graphic Design, for presenting those preseason write-ups and the write-ups in general. This year we've moved partnership a little bit here. So now we have the Wilds Printing a look ahead. And Wilds Printing will also be sponsoring our weekly rundowns or weekly recaps. So whenever you guys find out who, or if you guys want to know where all the Joe Media drivers finish, we're going to have it all in a singular recap posted to social media as well as to our website. Um, so there's going to be lots to check out there. Um, but your sister, Rachel, and I have come to a partnership agreement that she's going to be presenting our guests. So our guest segments are now going to be presented by Graphic Design Studio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that. She's done great work. We got some things in the works here. I gotta reach out to her again because we got a giveaway going to be going on here soon. So I need to square up first before we start announcing giveaways because I'm not going to be that kind of person. But look for it in the coming weeks, guys. It's gonna be lots to do. Megan, with the 500 not running yet and the Xfinity race going on later tonight, what are your predictions to who's going to win the 500 and the Xfinity race?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I fell out with NASCAR a lot over the past 2 years, but like Xfinity, not a clue. Cup Series though, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I've hated him my whole life, I'm kind of rooting for Kyle Busch at this point. Like,
Okay, why? I
I,
gotta know why.
I don't know because I like Brexton.
So you like his son, so you're
I
just gonna.
do. I like his son. So I'm like, you know what?
What do you think Brexton's gonna be in 20 years?
Yeah,
It's a mini Kyle Busch.
literally, yeah. But I don't know. I kind of relate to him on some degrees. And like, I feel like he's changed a little bit. And I'm kind of rooting for him at this point. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I mean, there's a lot of similarities. They're saying that this could be the year for Kyle Busch to get his first 500.
Hmm.
Apparently 20 years.
Yeah.
Who else had 20 years?
Wasn't it Earnhardt?
Yeah.
Exactly. I could see it.
And every time I say 20 years, I instantly get um Oh my God, why am I blanking on the name right now? Not Larry Mag, not Daryl Waltrip. Who's the other guy in the box? Oh God, you guys are gonna get mad at me for this. Mike Joy.
Okay.
Oh, every time I say 20 years, I instantly think of 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. That's all that comes to my mind. No matter what anyone's saying, oh, you hear 20 years, and it's like 20 years of trying, 20 years of. I'm like, I think I've listened to that call way too many times.
Yeah.
Actually, oh, speaking of this, speaking of Earnhardt, I found something. I watched something the other night, and I got to talk to you about this, and this is gonna be fun. So I went downstairs, and the Jacqueline's parents were watching, oh frick, what's that show? Pawn Shop.
Okay.
But this is where they're traveling, and this guy walks in with three Dale Earnhardt die casts. One is a prototype. One is a production prototype, and the other was a bank prototype.
Hmm.
Apparently, there was only ever 6 of these made.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the only one that had prototype on it was the original, like was the first one. And the cool part about it was apparently it was going to be as a partnership between um obviously RCR and
Mhm.
Brooks and Dunn.
Huh.
But the problem, apparently, what made this deal fall apart was that the logo that they put on the car, like when they were talking about it, was the tour logo,
Hmm.
not the actual Brooks and Dunn logo.
Right.
So apparently there was two separate entities or whatever and the wrong people got the tour one on. So apparently that's what made the deal fall through. So there's only ever 6 of these cars ever made.
Oh wow.
What do you think the going rate on that was?
Oh God.
What do you think he wanted for it?
Like per car?
No, for all 3. He was going to sell
Oh,
the
for all
lot.
three of them. I don't know. I feel like saying like $1,000 is pushing it, but like for I don't know. It's got to be up there. Like being Dale Earnhardt and being like an original and prototypes. Like I don't know.
You said 1,000?
Yeah.
Add 21 to that.
Wow.
He was wanting $22,000 for all 3 cars.
Is that even reasonable?
As soon as I heard that, I started laughing and you go like, that's I'm like, he ain't
Yeah.
getting that. And so apparently their expert was on scene, of course, because they always had an expert on scene. And that's when I found out about the whole, like, the 2 different logos, the reason why the deal fell apart. But the whole thing about it was the funny part about it was the fact that the guy then came and said, like, the prototype is worth $4,000. The
Yeah.
secondary one was $2,000. Then the third one was like $1,500. So totaled like $7,500.
Right.
Okay, the guy's like, yeah, I think we could do that. And he's like, I will offer you 4,500.
I feel like that's fair.
And the guy's like, I'm just gonna keep on to them. I'm like, yeah, that's smart.
Would have, yeah.
Like, what it but yeah, it was funny because like kind of Jacqueline and her mom were like, what do you think if that expert comes back and goes, yeah, like it's worth that? I'm gonna be like, there's no way. I'm
No,
not. I collect them and I kind of understand some values of it, but you're not selling a car or 3 cars for $22,000.
no.
Now, see
Seriously, I'm
if
I'm
it was
surprised they
me,
offered him more, or I'm surprised they offered him what he did.
right? And but yeah, the guy held on to it and yeah, so If we ever see anything like that on the market for like $120, I'm gonna go pick it up because I know it's a 4 grand buy. But anyways, we got Jae Pepin waiting in our waiting room right now. So what do you say we get into our first graphic design studio guest of the week?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring in Jae Pepin, everyone. Joining us this week in our graphic design studio guest of the week, we got Jae Pepin, Vice President from the Canadian Vintage Modifieds. Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. How's the off season been going for you and the club?
It's been going well. I know I've been obviously in contact with a lot of the drivers and teams, and they're keeping busy over the winter. So whether it's doing some rebuilds or whatnot, or some improvements to their cars, they're apparently everyone's doing something and they're having fun doing it. So it's been a good off season.
That's always good to hear.
Yeah, keeps everybody busy, right?
Well, you know what they say, right? And I don't mind is a devil's playground.
Very true.
Anyways, but let's get into about the CVMs and the why don't you tell us a little bit about the club as a whole?
Well, I mean, as you guys know, and maybe some don't, it's one of the longest standing series clubs, I guess, in the country. That's, I think, started. I could be wrong here, late 50s, early 60s. So it's all vintage cars. I think I could be wrong here, but pre 1948 original bodies that are on the top of a race built chassis. So pretty unique cars, and they're really fun to watch.
They are and still are my favorite division of stock car racing here in Ontario. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're blessed. I mean, it's one thing to watch them, and when you're actually in the car driving them, it's a boatload of fun.
I can just imagine what it's like to get into one of those things.
Uh, yeah, you can't be claustrophobic. It's pretty tight in some of those cars, unless you're driving like a coach, right? Like I know Jeremy Barton has a coach, and then Jared Morphy used to drive one, and they're a little bit more roomy, I guess. But most of them are pretty tight, depending on where the aluminum is all wrapped around you and stuff. So yeah, it's a tight fit, but they're blessed.
Oh yeah, and this year Rodney Rutherford is going to a coach too. Oh no,
That's
he was
right. You're
supposed
right.
to
You're
last
right.
year.
Yeah, yeah. You know, his car is a coach now, so I've had a chance to. I actually saw the car. It's actually looks great. So apparently he's let us know that he'll be out this year. So that's great to have Rodney back. He's a great driver, great guy. So it'll be great to have him at track with us.
Yeah, it's gonna be good to have that 24 back on track with you guys. Um, why don't we talk a little bit? How did the 2023 season go for you guys as a club?
You know, it went really well. I mean, we had a steady stream of vehicles, so we didn't have the numbers that we wanted to. I think we had 11 regulars, but those 11 regulars were out regularly, so like week to week. So I can say I think more than half of those cars got perfect attendance as well. So um, if not, they only missed a race. Like myself, I missed one myself. So we had a good turnout that way for reliable car count. It went well. We had a full list of associate sponsors, race night sponsors. So uh, I guess financially the club was in a great spot. So that helped with having cars on track. So it went really well overall. I mean, the weather was obviously a hindrance to everybody, right? We had a lot of issues with rain and some nights. So I know we had one cancellation one night. We were all at track hoping we'd race, and we didn't. But overall, it was a really great season.
So moving into 2024, do you want to talk about what the schedule for the CVMs looks like this year?
Yeah, sure. It worked out pretty well for us, and working with obviously with John at the track, and can't thank him enough. He's been so good to everybody, and especially our series. The 2024 schedule for us, I can go over a couple of things, but I know we only have one back-to-back weekend of driving, which is great. It obviously gives the driver some time to enjoy the summer as well. But if there's any damage and stuff, so we only have one of those, which is great. We've got 12 race nights for the year. We are on I think the Bill Zardo Memorial, June could be June 1st. Yeah, June 1st. Those are senior Memorial Night. We're on that, and we're also on an APC race night on July 13th. So that was something I know that the series our club wanted to be on, which was a special event night. So we're with them on the 13th for that, and then we're on Kids Ride Night August 3rd, I believe. Meet the Drivers Night on the 17th. We're also on the Memorial Night Championship Night. So I think it's worked out really well. So a lot of the fans are going to get to see us at the track, like I said, on Kids Ride Night or Meet the Drivers. Meet the Drivers are really great. Obviously, you guys have been a part of that, being on the track with us. So it's a great way to meet the drivers and see what the cars are all about, right? So, but overall, the schedule's really favorable, and I think the teams are they're quite happy with it.
It looks like a good schedule.
Yeah,
it is.
you definitely can't go wrong with that. Only one back-to-back weekend when like 2 years ago, the club had 4 in a row and 5 in a row.
That's right.
That put a strain on the drivers. I saw it week in and week out after that, like having a week. Like we had 1 or 2 weeks off between between like the 4 in a row and then the 5 in a row. And I know how much of a strain it put on the drivers for that. And now seeing every other weekend, it's going to be great. Gives the drivers a chance to repair their cars. And of course, yeah, you can never go wrong with Meet the Drivers Night. And I feel like this club needs to be on some special events because, like, one, the Memorial Night, you guys got snuffed last year for it, I think, and then this year you got, or 2 years, this year or last year, and this year you guys are back on that card. To me, that's just one of the best nights to be at the track. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, it is. It is for sure, and that was a huge priority for us last season to be on that, and I think it went well. So I agree with you. That's a corn roast night too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a big turnout for sure.
I told the guy last year on Motorama, I gave him a schedule for the CVMs, and I said, I'm like, if there's one event you come out for, and I pointed out, I'm like, you come out for this event.
Yeah.
It is one of the most awesome things you ever come out to watch. The divisions you watch, then you get to go into the pits for a corn roast after.
Yeah, it's
Like
pretty cool.
there's nothing better than that kind of night. Getting back, going back to the schedule here, you guys are going to be on the card, like you said, the card with the EPC late models there on July 13th. What was that like for you guys? Because it's been 4 years since you guys have been on a card with the series. How does that feel for you guys going forward? Does that help you guys with more, maybe getting sponsorship for the day or at least for the night, or you think that's going to give more exposure to more people outside of your normal reach?
Yeah, I think you're hitting on all those, John. I mean, it's favorable in all facets where you can have yourself be put out there a little bit more and people seeing it. So obviously it'll be televised, right? So that's obviously being a major event. So yeah, I think it's a balance. I think there was a request for us and people and fans asking about it even this past season when they were in the pits with us, asking if we'd be on those events. So I think the fans wanted it, wanted the CVMs out there, and then obviously the drivers do too. So, like you said, for our own personal exposure for each car and our sponsors, or maybe to, like you just said, attract more corporate size sponsors to the CVM club.
Actually, you just kind of touched on it there, so I think we're going to jump over to that one.
Okay.
Was like you said, given the exposure, you guys have been getting quite a few requests actually over the last couple of years to even come up for a one-off race or coming back to not necessarily a traveling series, but at least to come out and run one night or at a track.
Yeah.
What are those talks like?
Yeah. I mean, you've heard that too. So we've had invites from other tracks, reaching out to us now, wanting us to, I guess, travel or come to their tracks, and we obviously love that, and we've chatted about that as a group with that. I mean, for the immediate future, I think we're staying at the Flamborough Speedway. We'd like to grow the club a little bit more, get the car count up a bit more. which is going in the right direction. I can touch on that, but I think we're looking at doing that first, and then possibly tabling that later on. I know that there has been chatter again, like I think you just mentioned it, about like a one-off, like a non-points race, like maybe a special event, or where we go and just run one night of racing, right? So that could be possibles in the future, but for now, I think we're just staying at Flamborough.
Yeah, I would love to see the club grow just a little bit more as well before you guys attempt to go to other tracks, because you know it's hard on you guys to be able to travel. Because I know most of you guys, a lot of the guys, I think actually sold a lot of their traveling parts because once they found out they were just going to be running Flamborough, I think a lot of guys sold their parts. Um, so now you're almost having to ask teams to spend some money to get to go out to another track, just even for a one off. Um, I know Sobel wanted you guys when John was GM there. Last year you said Sunset. I remember last year Sunset wanted you guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to see these tracks reach out and want to be a part of this club again. And even if it's just for a one-off, I'd love to see. Hell, you can sign me up. I'm coming and covering the division for the day. If you guys travel to another track for a one-off race, I don't care. I'll make that travel work.
Yeah, it's like you said, right? Like it's nice that the series is getting some traction again, right? Like a lot of people are talking about it and asking about our cars and our series. So they're clearly talking to those local tracks about wanting us there, right? So it's nice as a whole to see that. I know the board. We were all chatting about that. So getting that popularity back up is priority. And like you just mentioned, getting our car count up, which we are doing. I can go into it a little bit if you want or later, but yeah, we've had a good number of cars, so we're looking at increasing our car count by a third this year. So we're shooting for like that 15 to 16 mark, with a possibility of outside numbers of up to 20. So that's the biggest key. Are we going in the right direction? Which we are, and we're getting the support from lots of people and businesses and things like that, and drivers are starting to see that, because let's face it, like it's racing isn't free, so it costs, right? It takes time, it takes some money, and if we can roll that all together, make it more affordable for everyone, then that's the biggest thing. And we're hoping that's, as a group, we're going in the right direction.
I think it's definitely like I've seen the growth over the past few seasons with the CVMs, and I think it's great. Do you want to talk about like I guess some of the new drivers or returning drivers and that growth in the division?
Yeah, like, you want me to go through them? I can certainly do that. That'd be
Sure.
great. Give them a little plug too. So
Mm.
I mean, a big thanks again, like I said, to the drivers that came out last season. It was really nice to see us always coming out. Well, we had a first year driver last year, Jessica James, and you want to talk about cost, John? I mean, travel and stuff. Like, I believe she travels in from the Belleville area to race. So
Yeah,
talk about dedication, and like it takes an effort, right? So you got to really have that. And she was an amazing addition last year to the series, and had a great season, for sure. We've got Mike Pod, who's been around a long time. So Mike's obviously a veteran of the series, and as far as I know, he's coming back again next year. So he's always an amazing asset to the club. And then his secondary car, which has Ian McIntyre behind the wheel on that. So Ian was out full time last year in either the one or the five. Joey Woolsey, he won a Rookie of the Year last year. He was a first year driver. He's only 17, I believe, or he's turning 18. So younger guy, and it's great to see him. And he had a blast. I know that. And then like Rick Williger, the number 8 car. Everybody knows Ricky Williger, so he had an amazing season, and he'll be back again. Scott Tonelli in the 14. He was our Rookie of the year previous. So he's had a boatload of fun, he said, in the series, and I know he's coming back this year and continuing that. And we got the Murdochs and Steve and his son Quentin. and those CVM, so they'll be back. And then we've got the 84 Jeremy Barton, who's been driving on and off for a number of years, as myself. And then Rodney Rutherford, right? So we touched on Rodney, so he'll be back. And we've got two brand new drivers, Megan, like you mentioned. So we got two rookies. As far as I know, these are the only two so far. So we've got Jae Pepin driving the 51 car, which is TJ Marshall's old championship car. And then we've got the 13 of Samantha Torella. So she'll be piloting, I think, Joe Arsenault's old 17 car. So that car, I believe, is ready to go. It's got to get some decal work done. And so those will be right now are kind of our regulars that we know of. There's other cars on the outside, like that I chatted with, were Bill and Amanda Stoner. I know they've indicated that they could be out this year. And then Joe Arsenault, I believe, has got another car in the works. And I know Mark Klotz was indicating that they have a car ready to go, I believe. But again, this is all hearsay, so I'm not speaking for them, but this is just things that we've had chatter over the last few months. And then John Carley, there's a 44 car. I know John's going to be driving other things as well, but there could be a chance there we can get John back in his car. And then Bob and Jake Gilbert have their vehicle too. I know they were getting some work done to that. And I know Rob Clark. I don't know the gentleman very well, but I know Rob had like a few cars, right? Like I think he had the 33 before and things like that. So I don't know where that sits with that, but even leaving him out, that's a good possibility of up to 20 cars, right? So that would be a full 100% improvement from this year, going from 10, 11 to 20. So I'd say conservatively, we're looking at around the 14, 15 mark. So and we are looking at other cars too. So there's other cars that are for sale. So as a club, we're entertaining that to see. And even if people are looking to pick them up to get them track ready, and even have people look to even rent them out or one-offs or a few races a year. So like if anybody's interested in that, like reach out to me or get a hold of John and they can put you on to me, and I can certainly point you in the right direction if you're looking to finally get into one of these cars. So yeah.
You need to stop teasing me like that. We're talking about rentals because I got a fire suit now. I really want to get behind one of the wheel of these things.
Well, yeah, you if you get the green light on your end, then we can certainly make it happen for you.
After April 6th. That's all I need to get through first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I leave out TJ Marshall? Did I go over?
Yeah, you left TJ out.
I did that on purpose. No joke. No, TJ Marshall, I wanted to touch on him. Obviously being our champion, obviously coming back out. Guy jumps in a new car mid-season and just keeps the ball rolling and wins a championship. So, and then sells his other car off to someone else to get that car on track. So to me, that's kind of the epitome of what growing the club is, where if you've had some success and you've had some experience in the club and you're moving on to say another car, that's just a great example of it. So now there's two cars on track, not just the same one, right? So and TJ obviously being our president, he's done an amazing job with handling all that stuff, and then obviously keeping his level of performance on track. So it says a lot about him. So yeah, it was just nice to see that. So it's nice to see his other car back on track. So that's kind of how we want to grow the club.
That's awesome. And this year there is a new title sponsor. Do you want to talk about that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Like first off, I'd like to quickly thank like Young Drivers. I know Jared Murphy this, so they were there for a few years with us, right? So they've moved on, but that was great to have them for a long time. But yeah, we so the new series sponsors, I know a lot of people know now, it's Grindstone Landscaping. They're based out in the Waterdown area. That's Jay Lindy and his team. So huge thanks to them for getting involved with us and being the title sponsor. I know Jay myself. His son races karts, and my daughter raced karts too. And he actually races against my daughter in the Pro Challenge series. So I know Jay, and it was a pleasure to have him approach us to be the title sponsor. So looking for many years with Jay, and he's a great person, and he's a racer, and I think it's going to be a great fit moving forward.
Awesome.
And the new logo for it looks absolutely, by the way,
It does look sharp. Hey, big thanks to Chuck Barton at B Square Decals. He put that together. Me and him kind of tweaked it a bit, but it was his mindset that pulled that together. So yeah, it looks good.
It's gonna look good on the side of the race car, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, like there's the one of the things I know. Let's just because I wasn't obviously I don't come out to the meetings anymore since the last time when we had the fall meeting there for the new votes of who was going to
yeah.
be on the committee. Was there any talk of going back to Motorama anymore, or is that absolutely kibosh, like not going to happen?
Like for this season or just
Yeah, for
moving
this
forward in
year.
general? For this year, I think yeah. So what we did is we just I think as a group decided to just because I know a lot of people were still working on their cars, and there's been a lot of transition with that, right? With people doing that, so there wasn't really. We obviously have to send a couple cars there and things like that. So we didn't want to handcuff the drivers and putting additional pressure on them to have their cars ready. Last year was a little easier. We had cars that were ready, so I think this year we just thought, you know what, let's just we won't put that pressure on anyone, and so we'll just take a year off. So next year is going to be tabled again for sure. So it's a great event. We really enjoyed it last year. I mean, you guys have been there. It's a great showcase, and I mean, yeah, we're certainly going to look at it for 2025.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if you guys had continued because I know the decision wasn't final at that meeting, but I figured I might as well ask you about it because
sure.
you're at the top of the food chain there. So
Well, no,
uh
we just talked about it as a group, and just
yeah,
yeah, there was just yeah, we just didn't have enough, I guess, solid commitment. And by all means, we like I said, we don't want to put any pressure on people because I mean, everyone works. We have a life, and it's tough sometimes. You just can't get to your race car, right? So
absolutely.
yeah,
Um Continuing on with the sponsors here, of course, the club always has the nice long list of usually the usual supporters of the club. Um I've also seen a few new people come on board as well over the last couple years. Who are some of the associate sponsors looking forward to ahead here for the 2024 season?
yeah. No, I appreciate you asking me that. We have had a stable of continuing sponsors, but yeah, we've had some new ones. For 2024, it's we got Sherwin-Williams Paints. They're back again for their second year. We got Epic Racewear with Dan Bailey and those guys. So they provide us with the checkered flags and things like that for us, right? And some of the swag, so all the hats and shirts and stuff. So they're back at Touchwood Cabinets, which is Jason Bowden, as we all know, drove CBM2 and is a racer, and his son drives in the Waterloo Regional Car Club. So he's back. We've got Riverside Heating and Air, and Sabaris Engineering, Grisdale's Racing Products, B Square Decals, Oakville Trailers. It's Ron Easton, and some guy named Jomo Media, some company. I'm not sure, but yeah,
Got to be a
no,
no-namer.
Jomo Media is in there. We have those associate sponsors for now. There's something in the works for probably maybe another one. We're not sure yet, so that's kind of ongoing right now for our associates. Yeah, but we huge thanks to them. They big supporters, and it certainly helps the club a great deal. And every one of their logos are on either side of the fenders on the cars. So if people are coming to the races and wonder what those things are, if there's like a mash of stickers on the cars, that's what those are. So we represent those on every car. So every car that races in our series has to have those on. And same with Grindstone Landscaping. You'll see that logo across our visor now on the windows now. So those will all be on the cars moving forward.
Can't wait to see that. Um, there's so many other questions I want to ask because
Shoot.
but no, because you said we don't want to make this. We talked yesterday, and there's so
Yeah,
many other questions I want to ask. So we're gonna have to. I want to do another episode later on, but I want to get you, Maddox, and Tenley on for that one.
that's
Um,
that's that's yeah, that's us. Yeah, we'll keep it to the club here, and that's yeah, for
exactly.
sure, for sure.
Uh, so and as well, like you got your nightly sponsors, and last year you guys were stockpiled with nightly sponsors. Uh, to the point where I was very thankful last year that we sponsored the championship night for the club.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know what are a lot of the associate sponsors also nightly sponsors this year as well, or
Yeah, we've got a few. Like I can go over them real quick here. I just
Yeah.
don't know my heart here, but I know Sherwin Williams. Sherwin Williams is doing a nightly sponsor as well. Touchwood Cabinets is doing it as well. Grindstone's going to have a nightly sponsor, a race night sponsor for obvious reasons. He's our title sponsor. So, Riverside Heating and Air, Cerberus, and yourself, right? Jomo Media is doing both. We also have one ops will be Shack Shine House Detailing. They've got a race night. Invisible Fence, which is an ex-driver that a lot of people probably know, Ben Charbonneau. So he's coming on. Flamborough Machine Shop. Authentic Memories Photography, they're on. That's the first time that they're in. And Georgetown Printing, so John Carley and his team, so they're on for race night. B Square Decals too. So yeah, we're full again. Like we had, it was incredible. Like we've had a lot of people approach us and wanting in, and again, it's back to that traction that the club's getting, right. So it's nice to see people wanting to get involved. So we're full for the year, like you said.
That's
It's great.
awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
So
really good.
yeah, the 2024 season's coming a lot quicker than what we all thought, I think. But is there any like expectations that you have for the club this season?
Well, expectations. I mean, I think things that I think that I think as a group, like the board, I mean, and the drivers, I think, and I'm trying to speak for the club here. I think it's just nice that we have that full 12 race schedule. You know, that we're going to have more cars and some new drivers, and they're young too. Like Samantha's 22, I think, and Maddox he'll be 21 in March. So we've got younger drivers coming in. Like John, you just touched. We have more supporters, new people coming in, new companies that are willing to support. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be active off the track too. Like I know last year, I don't know if you guys were there, we did that bike giveaway, like with the track.
Yep.
So we went out and got a nice new bike, and it looked great, and it was just nice to see, right? And like we're going to be sponsoring a Waterloo Regional Car Club race, right? June 22nd.
Nice.
Yeah, so we as a board, we wanted to kind of keep with our roots and go where most of our drivers come from. Like some of us came from karting, right? So we want to touch base with them and support them too. So June 22nd, we'll be there with the car, and then hopefully all of our drivers will show up. We don't race that night, so it'll be nice to have the group there. We can answer questions about anything, right? So, and we're also looking at doing a car show June 8th. It's called the Graffiti Car Show, put on by the Highwayman Car Club, and in Waterloo at the Rod and Gun Club. So that's something that we'd love to have all our cars out there again to get more exposure. Um, and then we've been chatting. We're not sure yet, but we'd like to. I know in the past we're speaking to a lot of the older drivers that retired. They did a summer barbecue and a picnic. So be nice to do something kind of off track, middle of summer, but we all get it. It's tough. Racing's busy. But we want to see about maybe possibly doing things like that with all the teams and drivers and fans if they want to come too. So
That's awesome.
That's
yeah,
great to
so
hear. I love hearing
yeah,
that.
yeah, a lot of things on the horizon. So it's nice. So I wouldn't call them expectations, but excitement, I guess. Lots of excitement. Looking forward to this season for sure.
Definitely.
I'm already getting excited. That's for sure. Um, yeah, this upcoming season, Megan, you hit the nail on the head there. 2024 season is coming rapid. Like I thought there was still another like 4 or 5 months to go, and
No,
no, mm-mm.
no.
It, it's coming a lot quicker than what we all expected. But you know, with the club in itself, it's growing. It's getting the support. It's again, it's one of the more unique clubs in Ontario. Um, there's a lot of comparisons now, especially between uh one of the Oscar modifieds as well as the CVMs in terms of what power plant, shocks, stuff like that, rear ends, where a lot of it's very similar, just the size of the car is different. But the CVMs is still one of the more affordable divisions to race in overall, I would say. What Jay, can you touch on that a little bit?
I completely agree with you, and it's for sure, and that's a huge reason I got into it as well. Obviously, number one, the cars look awesome, but it is. I did my homework too. It's obviously more affordable, right? So your tires last a little longer, right? Opposed to say a late model where you're swapping those out a lot quicker and a little bit more expensive, right? So, which is fine, right? But I mean, with us, if you're looking to not have extreme costs, the CVMs for sure. Like we run affordable cars, and they don't have to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to be perfect. They can just be safe and built the right way. But you know what I mean? Like it's tires will last you, right? So it's certainly affordable, and the fact that we do run it in Flamborough, we're not driving around the province or whatnot, right? At this time, anyway, because I mean, I drive in an hour away myself, so it can be costly. But being local in the middle of where we are at Flamborough, yeah, you save money, right? So no, very affordable, very affordable.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get Megan to get into the class, that's for sure.
Scott's had me sold a few times.
Has he? Well,
Oh
let's
yeah.
see. We'll see if we can get a car for you.
Jay, you know some rentals, right?
I might. I might. We're working on it.
Uh,
So
yeah, with the like I said, with the it's great to be looking ahead, that's for sure. And you guys definitely have a good committee this year. You guys are looking very strong in how you guys are going to operate this year. I obviously me sitting behind a lot more further on the sidelines than I was. It's definitely nice to see the changes you guys have been making, and of course the improvements you guys have been making to continue to rebuild this club, because I hate to say it, I don't ever want to see these cars become a piece in the garage, or sitting out in a race car graveyard somewhere. I don't want to see that. These cars deserve to be out there on the track. Um, they're just as beautiful as I remember seeing them 15 years ago when I started going back to Flamborough on a regular occurrence, and just seeing these cars. They're badass. The drivers are crazy. You guys are nuts. I don't give a damn who you say. You guys are the most nuts out there, in my opinion. Like, yeah, yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think the guys and girls that drove years and years and years ago before us, they were actually crazy.
mm.
Driving on a couch with a leather helmet, like that was crazy. And it's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny you talk about that because I talked to a gentleman last evening, actually, Mr. George McLeod. Um, he raced in the 50s, 60s, and I think retired in 78. So I had a nice long chat with him about how things were back in the day, and it's just crazy. I love to hear that stuff. I'm a historian. I love to hear that. So I was asking about all the old cars and how where they are, and maybe who has one today and things like that. So like even my son's car was Keith Barton's old car back in 1975, like the year I was born. Like come on. So it's really cool, right? And then I go to find out that Ron Easton, a good friend of mine who works on our cars, he drove that exact body, that car. Like it's so to me, it's just cool, right? And like you said, you don't want to see these cars sitting in the field. And you know what? I think it's the drivers that don't let that happen. So it's not a committee. I think it's the people that have that passion to drive them and to keep them on the track. So all the drivers I listed off and all the drivers that drove before us, those guys and girls are the people that we have to applaud because like they started it. They kept it going. And they were the ones running, as far as I heard guys telling me 30, 40 races and running 3 races on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and going from Michigan to the CNE and things like that. So that's what I was talking with Mr. McLeod last night. And I was just, my jaw was on the table, like wondering, how did you guys pull this off back then? Right. So, um, it's the drivers. That's who's going to keep these series alive, and people coming out and wanting to have that passion to do it. So I think our only commitment to that is just to kind of keep the club viable, uh, present, um, so people can get involved and see it. And then if they have that passion, jump into that car and let her rip. So
Mhm.
Well said, that's for sure. Um, Jay, we're not going to take up too much more of your time on this Monday because we
sure.
got the 500 happening in about 30 minutes. But
Yeah,
before
yeah.
we let you go,
Okay.
who's your pick for the 500?
You know what? I wasn't a huge fan of him, and there's no particular reason why, but obviously, I drive the 43, and it's Richard Petty. So uh, I'm going for Jimmy Johnson today, dark horse, because he's sporting Petty's 1964 paint scheme, and like, why not, right? Who doesn't love a guy who just jumps into a car he never practiced with and qualifies for the 500? So let's go, Jimmy.
Well, you got the, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch the race tonight. We got a nice big double header. Of course, we don't know who's going to win because we're recording at Monday at 3:30 in the afternoon.
That's
And
right.
so
That's
when
right.
this airs, we have no clue who won. Jay, we got to thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, and we're going to be seeing you a couple times this summer at Flamborough Speedway with the CVMs.
No problem.
Before we let you go, is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, a couple things. One, are we not doing fan questions? Let's
Oh,
go.
shoot.
Okay, so hold on, but yeah, okay. So then I got something after that if you want. So yeah, let's go fan questions.
All right, we got our tailored to you
Yeah.
media and design fan question period. Of course, we got some questions lined up for you, Jay. Megan, why don't you hit us with them while I go over here and yeah.
Alrighty. I'm gonna start off with Rob Twitchett. He's got 3 questions. First one, he said, "Do you think that your French background is why you suck so much, or is it a coincidence?" I guess we're starting strong.
Yeah. So Rob, he's such a nice fella, eh? Like, he's so kind and loving. I think it's got to be the French background, right? So I think Rob knows me well enough. So good on him. I love that question. You're the best, Rob. You're the
I'm not
best.
gonna lie, I didn't
I
read
got.
these over, and I just read that so confidently.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So now, yeah, people don't know I was French, so now you know. That's awesome.
Number 2, one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started.
Racing in the club or being on the board?
I'm going to assume racing.
Yeah.
Racing? I don't know. Like, well, I guess how fun these things really are to drive. Like, I mean, when you start out, you're not at your fastest, and not that I am now, but you get quicker and better, more confident. So they're just, the faster you go, the more fun it is, I guess. I had fun starting, but now that, as time progresses, you just have more fun and more and more and more. So yeah, I didn't realize how fun it would actually be.
And number 3, what has been your scariest moment in a CVM?
The scariest moment in a CVM. I think my first ever race, I might as well just had a set of blinders on or a blindfold on, because yeah, I wrecked the leaders in the race. And then I cracked the wall, so I almost broke my hand. So yeah, that's probably my scariest. That was a welcome to the series. It's time to wake up.
In 2021?
Yeah, sure did.
Oh.
Yeah, I sure did. So that was, I'd say, my scariest moment, because it was just like my first wreck, period. I'd never been in a wreck in a car, period. And so that was kind of like, whoa, okay, all right. So when I looked down and my hand was still attached, so that was a good thing. Let go of the steering wheel when you crash. Just let go of the wheel.
Oh yeah. Brandon Feeney asked, "What is your favorite part of driving a CVM?"
Well, we touched on this throughout this interview. They just look amazing, right? They're unique. They've got a history. All of them each have a history of their own. Like, every race car that's on that track was built at some point, and some family was riding along in those things in the 30s, 20s, and 40s. So they're just popular. I think a lot of people in the pits after races come to see us, and I know personally I put a lot of kids in my car and we fire it up, and the look on their face. So I think that's the favorite part, is they're so well received, and they're very unique. So, and they're easy to work on too, pretty simple. So that's the most enjoyable part.
Steve Murdoch asked, "What are you looking forward to in 2024?"
I'm looking forward to the club, like, having a fresh start now. It's with Grindstone stepping in. I think I'm looking forward to that reception from the crowd and our supporters. I think it'll be really great. Seeing new drivers again coming into the club. That's going to be fun to see new younger drivers coming into the series, and just seeing how much more our club's going to grow this year, right? And having that favorable schedule. So getting the club exposed a little bit more and seeing where that goes by the end of the year. I'm pretty excited for that.
Mm. Lisa Barton McCrae asked, "What is one of the best things you enjoy about being vice president of the CVM series?"
Well, it's just an honor to be on the board itself and helping out in any way. So I mean, I really love helping with our board and to grow our series. And I chat a lot a bit with our sponsors and stuff, and I kind of liaison between them and our board. So I enjoy doing that. I'm in sales in my day-to-day job, so it's kind of fun to meet new people. Um, I enjoy, I guess being on the board, you get to, a little bit more about the club where you're dealing with more people on a day to day. So I get to find out a lot of history on each car and maybe some past drivers and things like that. So like I said, I'm a historian with that stuff. I like it. So that's pretty cool to be able to do that.
For sure. And then Lisa also asks, right now you have 3 cars in the JTM stall. Will you have a 4th one anytime soon?
Oh, did you really ask that? That's funny.
Yeah.
You guys know I only have 2 kids, right? So like three is enough for now. But as a club or a series, I'm always looking to see if there's any cars available to get in new drivers into the series. So, like I said earlier, if anyone's looking to possibly get in one or want to know more about them, like reach out to me. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm always looking out in the best interest of the clubs for other cars too. And I know a lot of us are doing that. I'm not the only one by any means. So um, but yeah, I guess I got my eye always looking out for other cars. So but as for one in our actual stall to have, probably not.
I think that's all I have.
Yeah,
Was
that's
there
gonna
more, John? Okay.
no,
That's it.
that's all. That's gonna wrap up
Cool.
our Taylor to You media and design fan question period. Of course, we want to thank everyone for submitting their questions for this. Because it's always a lot of I always enjoy seeing what people come up with because you never know.
Yeah, Rob Twitch it. Sure. He's the best.
See, with Rob, I always just leave him in because I'm like, you know what? I'm like, the guy's funny.
He is funny.
Yes.
No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
But yeah, as I was saying before, I forgot about our fan question period. Jay, was there anything else you want to add in here before we let you go?
Well, listen, again, I'm just here on behalf of the club. So like I want to give a big thanks to the board and the team and all the drivers. I mean, like I said, the drivers make it happen. I believe there's only 3 of us on the board, like as drivers. So like we've got our president, TJ Marshall, big thanks to him for being who he is, obviously. And then we've got Scott Tonelli on our committee, which is also a driver, and obviously myself being the VP. And then big thanks to Brenda Atkinson. If you don't know her, she's been around the club for a super long time. So she handles our funds and she's the treasurer. Um, Lisa Barton, who asked the question there. So she's on our committee this year. Kelly Pepin, who's our secretary. Shannon McGlynn on our committee as well. And we've got head of tech, Randy Marshall, and Rick Williger also helps him with that. And Tim Martin. So he's an ex-driver as well. So he used to drive these. Tim's been a humongous help on the board too. So our entire committee, they love to put in that extra work and they're committed to helping the series. So big thanks to them.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to everyone and good luck on the upcoming season as a club because you guys are always gonna hold a dear you guys are always gonna be near and dear to my heart because that's how I got started with all this media stuff.
That's right.
was
That's right.
thanks to this club. Like it wasn't just I wanted to do this. It was just start helping with a team, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go with a series, see what happens, and look where we are now. Look at that. I'm sponsoring a race night. I'm a associate sponsor of the club. Like
It's amazing. We love having you. So you're right. Like it's nice to see your growth as well too. So I know we have a few drivers that are part of your Jomo Media team, and I let the drivers know too. Like, hey, listen, if you want some exposure for yourself and your cars and our series, I mean, hit up John, right? Like we've been with you guys for 3 years, and you've been really great at it, and that's your whole team is really awesome. So if you want exposure, call John for sure.
absolutely, we'll plug Joe Media more after this. So,
Right on.
Jay, thank you so much, man. Go enjoy the Daytona 500, and we'll see you in the upcoming race season.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before I go, I got one more thing to say. A big thanks to John and Frank Casale at Flamborough Speedway. It's a pleasure and an honor. I know from our entire series that we're able to race at the racetrack, and we can call that home. And big thanks to them. So they've always supported us, and big thanks to them.
And we're back after our conversation with the Grindstone Landscaping Canadian Vintage Modifieds Vice President, Mr. Jae Pepin. Of course, we got to thank Jay for joining us this week. It's always fun talking with people like that, and with him being a racer, it's also so hard not to ask him about himself.
Yeah.
Like as you guys heard, there was so his son is going to be competing for Rookie of the Year this year. I was going to ask him, was he nervous about his son jumping behind the wheel of one of these cars and what he was feeling? But I'm like, man, I can't do that because we're talking CVMs. You know, of course we're gonna have to bring Jay, we're gonna have to get Maddox on, bring Tenley on, we're gonna have to do a whole JTM episode later this year. So that way you guys can actually learn a little bit more about them. And if you guys want to, we're gonna put a link down below in the comment sections on YouTube. Check out our link in the comment, or not. It's not gonna be in the comment section, but it's gonna be in the description. On YouTube, we do have a video where last year we went down and hung out with JTM Racing, and we did a shop tour at their place. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. So you guys would get to meet Jay and Tenley a little bit. But this year with Maddox running a CVM, we got a little bit more. And I still think Maddox is gonna win best appearing car this year. In my opinion. Jay got a little touch up and it looks really, really good.
That chrome looks really good.
It looks so good, but I just don't know if it's gonna be enough. You know, who knows? Hell, even Rodney Rutherford, he's got a white car right now.
Yeah.
What's it gonna look like?
I'm curious.
So, and of course, this is one of my favorite times of the years when either drivers start showing us what their paint schemes are for next year, or even showing us what an idea of what they're gonna go with next year. You know, and of course, I'm like a little kid in the candy store when I see the unveiling.
Me too.
Because there's so much fun to see, you know.
It really is. It's like a little fashion show, but like for us race people. I don't know.
You know what I'm just thinking is like driving like a car. So like obviously someone there, like you guys drive out in the car and then you get out and then with your fire suit on and walk the rest of the way down the.
Yeah.
Then your crew comes out in their crew shirts.
That
I
makes
want to see that. Oh my god. That would be so much fun. Oh, good god. But yeah, so we're gonna get them back on. We're gonna talk to them, and we're gonna get out of here pretty soon here, so that way we can go watch the 500. I'm likely gonna be listening to on MRN radio here in just a couple of minutes, but as we heard, Megan's got Kyle Busch, picking Kyle Busch for this race. Jay has got Jimmy Johnson. I'm not going to go with a dark horse, but I'm not going to go all out here either. I'm going to take Bubba Wallace.
I knew you were going to say that.
Why did you think I was going to say that?
I don't know. I just knew it.
He's not even my favorite driver. I don't even have a driver anymore.
I know, but isn't he Jacqueline's?
It is Jacqueline's. I will admit to that. Jacqueline's favorite driver is Bubba Wallace. But you know what driver I can never pick in front of Jacqueline?
What?
Michael McDowell. She
Really?
absolutely hates him. Every time they talk about him, every time they show his car, she just gives up the middle finger to him.
Hey, that used to be me with Kyle Busch, to be honest. Like when my Facebook like memories come up, like it's embarrassing from like 2011, the stuff I used to post about Kyle Busch. I'm like, holy smokes, relax. What did
And
he
now
ever
you're
do?
just like, I got to give it up for him.
Now I'm like, he's a little bit relatable. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay.
No, I think I think Bubba's finished twice in the 500. You just got to be there at the end of the 500 miles. That's it.
Exactly.
You have a chance as long as you're there at the 499 mile marker.
That's all that really matters in those races.
Yeah, it's literally the last half a mile.
Yeah.
Is where all carnage breaks through. If you're in a good position, you're coming home with that trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And the title of Daytona 500 champion. You know, but with that being said, guys, we are going to get out of here and we're going to go enjoy some racing. We're going to go enjoy the rest of our week because, you know, today's family day. So we got a short work week ahead of us, which is awesome. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of your work week. We got to thank all of our partners, Vision 20 Studios for presenting the podcast, Graphic Design Studio for presenting our guest this week, as well as Taylor to You Media and Design for presenting our fan question period. You can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Well, actually, we're not really on Twitter anymore. TikTok, YouTube, and as well as joemedia.ca. You guys can find out all the information. As Jay said, if you guys are looking for promotions to for your race team for the next year, contact us. We'll set you guys up with a great package where we can help you out, give you and your sponsors some more exposure. Other than that, guys, Megan, is there anything else you would like to add before we head out here?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, for Megan Mitchell, I'm John Morrison. We'll see you guys next week. Bye now.
Yeah.
Hear the engine rooming by, smell the gas and feel the vibe, going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing, let's go.